to see all these honeys drop.
Hey guys, Radon here. Today I'm going to talk about LIC Rochester. I ended up going last night. It was a lot of fun. One thing I want to say is that all of the artists, Bonnie and Clyde, Gasly, and Getter, all killed it. But I've got some problems with some of the things that happened at LIC. The big problem is the crowd. If you've ever been to a Life in Color, you'll realize that it's not like any other show. It's more of a frat party vibe because it brings just a ton of college kids. And they don't know how to, like, go to shows. I call them ravers because they're not used to it and they think it's cool. And they all just want to do drugs and get drunk and all that shit, which is really annoying to me. Especially if they don't know what they're doing and they can't handle themselves. That's when it becomes a big issue. But the frat party vibe always sucks, especially at a dubstep show, because they don't know what they're doing, especially they don't know who the artists are. The worst thing is when they get really hyped when an artist comes out on stage, but when the artist starts actually playing their music, they don't move, they stop doing anything, and then they just sit there and talk to each other, or they're, fucking boy toys and grinding on all the girls and shit like that. Like, nah, like, come on, let's be real. It's really annoying, but one of the big things that happened during Gasly's set, I can't remember how far it wasn't too far in, he ends up dropping Phase 1 Kung Fu featuring Virtual Riot. And I start going hard as fuck, so does my buddy Noah, who's on my left. But this chick on my right just is sitting there grinding on the rail and kept getting annoyed and kept looking at me when I was moving the rail. Like, it was like one of the metal rails. It wasn't like an actual rail that you get the front row it shows. It was like a guardrail type thing, but we were basically picking it up and slamming it down. She kept getting all pissed off. She eventually left. But it's just the people like that piss me off. Like, I don't bother them, but if they're going to come up and get on top of me and get up next to me when there's plenty of room to go do this shit somewhere else, don't get pissed when I'm going hard as fuck on the rail and you're getting bumped into. Like, let's be serious. It's a fucking show. It's a rave, as they would call it. Don't get mad when somebody's bumping into you. Another thing that happened was Getter ends up dropping Chode Gang at the very beginning. So, of course, I'm sitting there yelling Chode Gang over and over again because it's part of the song. And this chick kept giving me this dirty look. And I'm like, bro, don't get mad just because I know the song. Like, this is my shit. And then, again, we start going hard. And it just, the crowd died. Like, it was as if all of a sudden they stopped playing this shitty trap and fucking mainstream music, and then the crowd just kind of died off and, again starts talking to their friends and getting annoying as fuck, being high, not knowing where they're at. On some of the things, it just annoys me with the fact that they just come to these shows and act like they know what they're doing, and they just don't, and it's annoying. As a person that goes to these shows all the time, like, I've been to a Life in Color last year. It was awful, but I loved the artist, so I went. And on the front rail, I ended up busting my knee open. It was bleeding pretty bad, and I didn't realize it until after I left the rail, right after Zomboy's set. And what had been happening was the people behind us wouldn't, like, stop and give us room. So they were basically, like, on top of you, jumping, pushing you against the rail where you can almost not breathe. Even Keegan, aka EK Rex, was having trouble with it. And we had security tell them to back up, and they just wouldn't. But I wasn't leaving until after Zomboy's set, because Zomboy is one of my favorite artists. But right after he ended, I walked off to the side, and I looked down at my knee, and I'm, like, bleeding pretty bad. But it stopped bleeding, so it was just a dry blood, like, running down my knee, basically. And it just... That's one of the main reasons that I didn't want to be on the front rail this year. So this year I stayed on the side. Again, it wasn't the actual rail, but I was on the guardrail where I can actually still have something to grab onto and headbang. Another reason I picked this side instead of in front was the paint. The barrels, or not the barrels, but the bottles that they give you are fine, right? Because they leave little splashes of paint everywhere. They're different colors. The cannons that they use, it's like a ton of different colors they put into them. But when they bring out those hoses, and it ruins it, Like, you're sitting there, and you're covered in different colors, but then they bring these hoses out and they hit you with it, and you're either going to be all green or all pink, and it just covers you, and it feels like you're taking a shower. But unlike a shower, you can't just dry off. It dries onto you and just becomes scaly, and you're like peeling it off of your skin. It gets in your hair and like spikes up your hair almost. And last year I had long hair, so it was really bad. This year, it wasn't as bad. I did get hit a little bit, but I was able to like wash it out pretty easily. But they really need to do something about that, uh, or at least give you something to clean yourself off with. I guess like small towels or rags or something, so that you don't get it in your eyes. Because I got it in my eyes a ton last year, and I didn't have anything clean because I was front rail, so I didn't have anything to use to clean out my eyes. I had a mask on and everything too, but it just ran down in your eye. You can't get it out, which is a big problem because you're sitting up front. But yeah, like, it wasn't a bad show. But some of the good things that did happen. Uh, the venue was huge. Driving up to it, we had no idea where it was because we've never been to this venue. So we're rolling up, we're rolling over the bridge, and I'm like, is it at the fucking castle? Because there's a giant thing. It looks like an old church, but it's an old armory, and it literally looked like a castle. And it was, because we pulled up and there's people outside. We get in there, beautiful inside. It was massive. Um, I'm hoping maybe one of these days we'll be able to get another show there. I would love to see Excision there. I don't know if it's just because they don't want him to bring his own sound system or not, but it's definitely big enough for him to be able to go in. We could sell a ton of tickets to it. He can bring the full Paradox and stuff. That would look great. Um, and it was a very good venue. There was bathrooms off to the side. There was pretty big. You could easily get to them. There was water on each side that if you really needed to, you can get to. It wasn't that hard to get around. They had the lights and sound systems or sound controls were up on the balcony, so they wouldn't get hit by paint. But right where you would normally see the sound setups is where you could buy the paint and stuff, so we're easy to get to. Everything was right there in front of you if you needed to get to it. It was all labeled, easy to find. Security was great. Some of the security guards were getting covered in paint. They didn't look very happy about it, but they were chill. They were dancing around, having fun. They didn't really have a problem with anybody doing anything dumb. They let you vape in there, which was a good thing for a couple of my friends. A lot of the times they make you put your vapes away. They don't want you to bring them in, or you have to go outside. But since it's such a big venue, you were allowed to do it inside. They just made sure that you weren't smoking pot, of course. But it was great. Another big thing was, again, like I said in the beginning of this video, the artists were great. One thing is, though, Bonnie and Clyde didn't seem to go as hard as I expected. I was expecting more of a dubstep side of them. I've seen a lot of videos of them, and they go a lot harder. I think it's just because it's Life in Color, and they were trying to get the crowd hyped, I guess, that they played nothing but, like, trap and, like, music you would hear in mainstream radio and stuff like that. But they did go hard, in some ways. They played a lot of heavy trap at the end of the show, or end of their set, which was pretty good. Ghastly, of course, comes out, throws down a mix of everything. Getter just goes hard as fuck. Uh, Another thing, there was an after party that I wasn't able to go to again because I'm sick. I wanted to get home. But apparently, they all just hung out at the after party, got hammered, did a B2B together, hung out. And I would have loved to have gone to that. So if you're ever going to a show like this, check and see if there's any after parties like that because they're always going to be fun. I guess at the end of this is if you're trying to figure out if you want to go to Life in Color or not, just look at the lineup. And if you like the lineup, then you should go. Get some friends. Don't go alone because that normally leads to, especially if you're a female, you're going to get guys all over you. And that's probably not going to be fun. I've heard some bad stories about that kind of shit. But even if you're a guy, get a ton of your friends to go hang out. It's a lot more fun with friends than it is to just go randomly. Although you will meet a lot of people there. Whereas, like, that's where I met half of my friends was at shows. It's still better off going with at least a couple friends that you know. Especially if you're driving there. Make sure that if you do get tired, you can always stop. I had a group of friends with me, so if I needed to, they could have drove. I ended up driving the whole way anyway, but other than that, like, that's basically it. Just if you want to go, make sure you go if it's a good lineup. And just remember that the crowd's not going to be the normal crowd. You're going to see a lot more frats and stuff. So, until next time, guys, I will see everybody later. Bye.